tornado outside my cabin. I was straight there. So then I thought I was one in the sun. And then the sun opened up a circle. The sun opened up a circle like an eyeball. So there's, you're not scared.
You feel all hope is gone, and you say no one knows what I'm going through. Jesus, he knows everything, and he cares for you. So hold your head up high, walk on through the rain, because you're gonna make it, if you just hold on, because Jesus is here. He was dumped back to us once they allowed him to go blind and deaf and in a deteriorating state. Now he's given back to us. That's wrong. You can't even put it into words. I wonder, how did a healthy young man end up blind and deaf? And that is basically what I'm trying to get to the bottom of and find out what happened.
Have you asked to speak to an attorney?
No.
All right. You want to talk to me?
What do we got to talk about?
Well, oh, were you driving yesterday?
What kind of car was I driving yesterday? You tell me.
No, you tell me.
You tell me.
No, you tell me.
No, you tell me. Because you telling me
Well,
in
you
my
talking about
head
Sunday game.
that it was a Benz.
It was a Benz?
That's what you telling me in my head.
Well,
And you talking straight into my spirit. And I appreciate if you stop doing that.
all right, I'll try to not talk to your spirit, and I'll just ask you directly. What kind of
Man,
car
y'all
were you
gotta
driving?
be out of
It
here,
wasn't a
man.
Benz.
Man,
Jail, in and of itself, is a place where well people get sick, and sick people get even sicker and sometimes die. The one thing that I have come to know pretty clearly after 40 years of doing it, if you have somebody that you care about that's mentally ill or physically ill, the last place you want them to be, and one of the most dangerous places they can possibly be, is in the county jail.
Listen, your crazy act doesn't work.
my crazy act isn't working.
Nah.
I'm not crazy.
All right. Well, that's good to know. You're an asshole then. Because you're either crazy or an asshole. Yeah. All right. If you think about where that BMW is, you knock on the wall 3 times.
Man, listen.
And I'll be back.
Man, we still got to get it. No, we got a choice to do right and to do wrong. We got a choice to do right now and to do wrong. You don't have to do it.
God blessed me with my son. I love my son. He's a good kid. You know, he's made mistakes. He's had charges, yes, but there's a lot of good in my son. That's how he was raised. There's a lot of good in him.
Ah, man. Hey, watch this. Who I told you I was?
When I met him, he could hear, he could see. He had mental health issues, but he could hear and he could see. Comes back from the state hospital, he can't hear. He's deaf. So we got somebody who, I meet them, he has normal faculties. 2 years later, he's Helen Keller.
What I have to do and what I've been trying to do is go through all of the medical records and see when he started going blind and when he started going deaf, whether or not they even tried to get him out to outside help or to a hospital when he started losing his hearing and his sight.
From 2011 to 2015, I mean, it's 4 years. He had symptoms. It's like a car crash afterwards. You can see the 2 cars, but you don't know what happened to them. At some point, we would hope someone would have put 1 + 1 together and say, okay, this guy's got something going on with 2 of his cranial nerves coming from his brain. The chances of that being unrelated and not one disease are pretty slim. But I think that given some steroids at the beginning, we might have been able to prevent progression. Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, may I speak to Betty Johnson, please? Hey, Miss Betty Johnson, my name is Aaron Richardson. I have a couple of questions for you. Well, I would like to know, why did you sign a letter? My son is blind and deaf, and I feel like you're part of the blame why he's blind and deaf. I'm looking at something, the letter you wrote said that my son was possibly malingering, exaggerating his mental illness. He wasn't exaggerating it. Right now he's blind and deaf. And I'm looking at a letter you wrote here. You'll be hearing from me, because this is not right, ma'am.
Very clearly, there was never any evidence, in my opinion, that Aaron was malingering. I think, given the outcome, any assertion of that's insulting. I never saw it, right, over the course of 2 or 3 years. And while I understand the hospital believed that opinion would diminish administration of treatment for his major mental illness.
And you wrote in this letter that he's exaggerating his state of his mental health or illness? I'm just seeing this in these records. That's all right. I'm not gonna give you his name. I'm gonna let her ponder that all night long, what she did. Well, there's been multiple, probably hundreds of lawsuits against this particular medical provider for the Broward County Jail, which is called Armor.
Private jail health care provider, Armor Correctional Health Services, which has a contract worth about $28 million a year, failed to properly...
A Sun Sentinel investigation of inmate deaths found that Armor has left severely mentally ill inmates unmedicated and malnourished.
Investigates found incidents of inmate deaths blamed on poor health care by Armor Correctional across the
country. No matter how many stories you guys tell about mentally ill people not getting treatment, it is the tip of the iceberg. Part of that is because how they're funded. In most cases, as in Broward, you have a county commission and a sheriff's office that privatize the medical and mental health treatment. Well, whatever amount of money that this private provider gets, every dollar of treatment that they render to a client or to an inmate is one less dollar of profit. The push-pull is you don't want them to die on your watch, but you also don't want to spend any money to keep them alive.
I try to do things with Junior to keep his spirit up, because a lot of times I can see his spirit just dropping. So what I try to do is keep the faith, take him to the YMCA 2 or 3 times a week, let him enjoy the water, just things that'll keep his spirit up. I pray. I want to know from God why. I want to know from God how.
In experiments and studies, when we take people's vision and hearing away by blocking them and putting headphones on, if we do that long enough, in just a few hours, 24 hours, they will start to hallucinate. Their brain will fill any gap with information that's not really there. Now you have that happening to him in a guy who's schizophrenic who can't interpret reality normally anyways. That's just, I don't know how his dad's dealing with it. I mean, that's worse than schizophrenia.
I hate my son had to get caught up in a time such as now, because he ended up blind and deaf, but he could have easily been dead. Thank God he's not dead. I'm speechless to think that, man, we are that wicked within. It's a representation of what America is. If we can put a man on the moon, if we can make cell phones, we can do all these things. Small things as taking care of people, we can do it. It's just that there's a lack of morality. There's just a lack of love. When men stop caring, this is what happens. People don't care, bottom line. People just don't care.